Hello, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us. I know you'll be glad you did. We have a wonderful speaker. You're going to be so glad that you made the time to join us today. My name is Rita Wolfson, and I am the founder of Financial Social Work. I am an NASW pioneer and a co-author of the book coming out in May called the textbook called Financial Social Work, Micro, Meso, Macro Practice. Also online today with us is Eric Zopp. He is all things digital for the Center for Financial Social Work, and we are so glad to have him. And most of all, I'm so happy to have Sharon Lawrence with us. She will introduce herself as our guest speaker in a few moments, and you'll be so glad to listen to what she's going to teach us today. So, a little housekeeping, some commonly asked questions, and some suggestions. We probably don't have anything in the chat box for messages. You do need to know that slides aren't shared, they are proprietary, but everyone will receive the recording and next week, and it will be up on our website and our YouTube channel within a few days. Then emailed to you at the beginning of next week. There is no CE or certificate of attendance for this training. But if you check the website, we do have some coming up that will include a free CE. If you have questions, please type them into the question box and we'll answer as many as possible as time permits. If you have any tech issues, go to financialsocialwork.com and use the chat so that Eric can help you with any problems you have. I like to start my trainings with our financial social work affirmation. It goes, just for today, I will love myself enough to face my fears, practice self-acceptance, and embrace hope. Silence my inner critic, speak my truth, and make peace with myself and with my past. Just for today, I will give myself permission to eliminate toxic people, beliefs, and behaviors from my life and to prepare for a better tomorrow by healing my relationship with my money and with myself today. And I encourage you to stay tuned after the presentation because we do have a special discount for all attendees. So before I turn this over to our trainer, just a little background on financial social work for those of you who may be new to not only our monthly free webinar, but to why we do what we do. The simple truth is that no one chooses to have money problems, but sadly, most people do. Those people need trustworthy, reliable professionals with whom to process all things monetary. They need a safe, non-judgmental space where they may talk and learn about money. And everyone needs someone and somewhere to share their money secrets and questions, the ones they've been hiding from or avoiding all of their lives. They need someone who practices financial social work, which is inclusive and available to everyone. Financial social work is at the intersection of social work, politics, the economy, gender, racial, social, economic, other able justice, and climate change, as well as mental health and financial inequity. It is a behavioral model. It addresses the financial thoughts, feelings, attitudes, beliefs, values, and experiences that drive financial behavior because until and unless behavior changes, nothing changes. And for us, financial behavior is how one earns, spends, saves, shares, and borrows. It is about healing your relationship with your money and your relationship with yourself, growing healthier personally, financially, and professionally, reducing financial stress, problems, anxiety, and trauma, and creating that safe, non-judgmental space to learn, process, and talk about money. Financial social workers are agents of financial change. They address money and mental health. They advocate for marginalized groups, help clients cope, heal, and deal with their money and mental health, work to repair their own and their clients' relationship with money and self. They are committed to gender, social, and economic justice. The Center for Financial Social Work has a variety of products and services. Some are fee-based and some are free. And they all focus on financial behavioral change. And now it gives me really great pleasure to turn this over as soon as I find my little arrow to our guest speaker. And here we go, Sharon. I am sure I'm going to turn it over to you. There you go. You have it.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I hope everyone is well. Thank you, Rita. Can you hear me okay?
Perfectly.
Awesome. All right. I am truly excited to be back. This is actually my third time presenting for the Center for Financial Social Work, and my second time presenting around Valentine's Day, the day of hearts for many people. And so I'm excited, and we're going to talk about romance, dreams, and wallets, because that's where most people hold their money, right? Building financial harmony. So let's get started. These are some things that we're going to really highlight today: romance, dreams, and wallets, which is the theme of it all. But we're going to look at financial harmony in relationships. How do we accomplish that? How do we accomplish dealing with the impact of stress that's associated with money problems? And we're going to look at what the numbers say, which is just a few stats. We don't have all of them. It's too many to probably track at one time, and we don't have enough time in this webinar to cover it all. But we're going to look at some of those numbers, and then strategies, lights, camera, action, that whole piece of what is it that we're going to challenge couples to do so that they can see change. Like Rita just said, if the behavior doesn't change, nothing changes. So until you make that effort and until you are intentional, the behaviors will definitely remain. And then we have motivation for sustainability, how to keep them going. I want to just highlight that when I think about the couples, for all of you that are listening, most couples go into this full of love with rose-colored glasses. They're excited about their future together, the white picket fence, the two, 0.5 kids and 3 dogs and probably 7 cats. Who knows? They have these dreams. But there are no definitive stats associated with the couples who love regardless of money. It's not a set number. We know they all go in there because of love. But there are couples who say money is not the reason we're together. It is love, and they'll kind of push through whatever the challenges may be. However, we have to keep in mind that there are couples who do prioritize their relationship over money. And then there are couples who say we need to be able to deal with our money in order to be happy. And so we're going to talk about that today, and how to kind of work through those rose-colored glasses as well. The numbers pretty much don't lie. and money is a huge source of stress. And so let's keep going, because I want to make sure we cover all of this today and talk about, again, how money issues can impact marriages, and how it can cause them to have ongoing stress, not just within the relationship, but internally, individually. Okay, let's keep going. All right. So Rita, I need your help.
Okay.
I have a poll. I want to know what the numbers say. So everyone, we have 3 polls that we're going to do today. The first one is, what percentage of couples argue about money, at least occasionally? I know some of you are going to say 1,000%. You
Yeah.
know, so the poll is open. Let's see. All right. Okay. It's collecting those responses. Okay.
We always have a great audience. They always participate.
This is good.
Tell me when you want me to close it.
It looks like is it almost there? I guess you can close it now. It looks like it's 100%, if I'm counting that correctly.
I think it's 74%, but that's not everybody does it here. Okay, now we'll share.
All right, awesome. All right. All
You can
right.
tell them. You can tell them the answer now, or should I close the poll?
I just told them 45% of couples argue about money at least occasionally, it says. Now, if we look at Fidelity's 2024 couples and money study that was done, it says 45% of partners argue about money, at least occasionally. They go on to talk about the different common stressors that come up for these couples that they found in their survey. One is that maybe they had separate earnings. And so, having their own money, they wanted to do what they wanted to do with their money and not necessarily combine those things together. We are seeing more of that with couples, honestly, where they're saying they don't want joint accounts or to be able to do some things together. They like their level of independence, even coming into the relationship. And then they talked about carrying old debts, such as, credit card debt, school debt, you name it. There are a number of things that may come up. All right. And so I want to look at one more poll, the next one. And it says, what is the percentage of couples that consider money as the biggest challenge in their relationship? That's poll number 2. And I know we may have a lot of couples who are actually maybe participating in the webinar today, listening in. There may be a lot of clinicians, maybe some clergy, coaches. If you're participating, I'm sure some of you have stories of, money being a huge factor in some of the challenges that your couples are facing. And so we know that this is something that is common. All right, we can go ahead and close that. And here we go, 25% actually. So most of you selected 82%, but it actually is 25% of couples consider money as the biggest challenge. And this was according to Investopedia when they were looking at the surveys. Again, when we think about these money issues that exist, some other common stressors that come up is also personality differences. People like to do what they want to do, right? We're human. There's a sense of autonomy that we always talk about with our clients, that they have a right to choose what they want to do. That is the case with some couples as well, that even though they're becoming one, if you will, they still have this sense where they want to feel like they have control over what they have earned, right? And so there may be some personality differences in terms of their perspective on things and how they want to move and maneuver through their life with their finances, all right? There's always power plays as well. Again, there's that whole, I want to control this, but what about when you have one person who earns money while the other person may be the stay-at-home partner, where they're the ones who are caring for things? Who decides on where that money goes and how it's spent, how it's saved, and if that person is even privy, or a benefactor of those earnings, right? And so you have those power plays that exist. There's that power differential that exists in that couple because of one person having and the other person not. All right. And then you have supporting a growing family. So you're earning money, but your family's growing, which is exceeding what it is you're bringing in, right? There's a greater need when you talk about little people. Little people cost money, okay? I'll even say growing family could be pets. Some people don't have children. They may have pets that they love. Pets are very expensive as well, right? And so whatever it is that's you're focused on in that relationship that you're choosing to care for in addition to that relationship itself, you're talking about money coming out of the bank and going towards something else. So keep that in mind. And then last but not least, I have to highlight this as I was reading these studies, is that they looked at coping with extended family. So when we talk about these numbers, imagine when you're not only taking care of your family, but maybe you're now a caregiver of a loved one, a parent, right? An aunt, an uncle, additional children. Maybe you're taking on, guardianship of a loved one's children. Either way, you're now talking about having a greater responsibility. And again, in order to address those needs, we know money is a huge factor in terms of meeting those needs. Those are things we can't ignore. All right. All right, everyone, let's keep going. All right. So here's the impact of financial stress on relationships. This is no different than a lot of stuff that we see, right? When there's a stressor, what happens? People start to isolate, they become frustrated, they're annoyed. But imagine when that financial stress is within that partnership, that relationship, right? It's going to create some type of disconnect between those two parties, right? It becomes hard for them to function. They may not feel like they can be as honest, right? They may feel as if they don't have a way out of the hole that has, been created because of all the things that they have on their plate. And one person may feel like they have the answers, even though they don't. They just wish that it was better. It's going to create some verbal disputes, right? It maybe even increase distrust, especially if there's some mishandling of funds, right? Money has the ability to either, in terms of communication, because this all goes back to communication, you all. I don't want you to think I'm saying money is standing in the middle saying, hey, hey, hey. It's about that level of communication. It's about the conflict resolution skills, all of that. But we know at the source of it is the money piece, right? And so when we talk about money issues, right, it has the potential to weaken a relationship. But when things are going well, we also know it has the potential to improve and strengthen that relationship, right? It's going to be up to those couples to figure out how to get through this level of impact to make better choices. The other thing that comes up when we talk about the impact is that there's an erosion of intimacy and emotional connection. There's a book out there that says women are from Mars, men are from, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. How do you say it? Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. I think I got it right. Okay.
Something like that.
And so in that book, this is stuff we know very often. And granted, there are times that couples may switch roles. But for the most part, we know when it comes to intimacy, and for those of you that read my bio, I am a licensed clinical social worker. I do relationship counseling. I train couples to work. I train clinicians to work with couples as well. And one of the things that's very common is that for men, if they're doing something in that relationship, to them, you know, they don't do it first. They do it after intimacy, right? They're like, oh, that was great. Let me go help out here. Whereas for women, they want you to do something first in order to receive intimacy. Women often feel, and this is very common, you can look it up, women often feel like they're more connected when they feel appreciated, when they feel cared for, when there's a greater connection, when they feel like they can trust that individual. And so when we start talking about erosion of intimacy and emotional connection, that is because if someone does not feel safe, and they do not feel connected, and they don't feel like they can trust the other individual with the affairs that truly impact the relationship, do you think they really want to be intimate with that person? Probably not. They're probably keeping their distance. They're probably choosing to speak very few words. Um, they're probably trying to figure out how they're going to get out of that hole without that person, if it is really that bad. So these are things that are common when you talk about the impact of financial stress on a relationship, right? And then the other thing is we can't ignore this. It increased the risk for separation and divorce, right? And so every couple definitely has their own issues, whether it's related to money or not. They're going to have their own historical piece that comes from that. As we talk about having your own money story, identifying your relationship with money, how you perceive it. The couples need to know what that is. They're going to have their own perspectives, their own thought processes around it, and their own values as it relates to money, whether it's healthy or not. It's going to exist, and they're going to have to figure out how they tap into that. All right, let's keep going. So I want to introduce just a little motivational moment. When we're working with couples, even though we're, addressing some big challenges, sometimes we have to remind them of something as simple as this. Just one great partnership with the right person can have an incredible impact on business success. We have couples, this is from Janine Ogg and Joe Foster. There are couples who are not only married, they may be in business together, right? And so when you have that, you want to make sure you're on the right page. Does it start off that way all the time when people meet one another? Maybe not, but it doesn't mean that they can't get to a place where they have a great partnership when it comes to communication, trust, conflict resolution, understanding each other's partners, styles and habits and those things, and what makes them click so that they can truly work together to address anything that comes their way. All right. And so getting them to identify what those relationship goals look like can impact what those money goals can look like as well. All right, let's keep going. All right, Rita, I have one more poll, and this is the last poll for today. All right, everyone, let's see what you think. What percentage of couples who married in the last 5 years start off in debt? This is according to Ramsey Solutions. And so let's see what you all think. All right, I'll give 10 more seconds. I see the little bars moving. Okay, I think we're there. All right, let's go and look at the answer. All right, 86%, right? Yeah, yep. Most of you said 68%. I wish it was a little bit lower, but that number is fairly high, right? 86%, it says, of couples who got married in the last 5 years started out in debt. Rita and I were talking about this, and we were highlighting the fact that these are couples, this is not just student loan, it may be credit card debt, it may be payday loans. It can be anything that they may have invested in and maybe it backfired. It might be that maybe they're behind in their car note. Whatever it may be, there are things that they brought with them into the relationship. And one thing about it, I need you all to understand for the most part is that what you come into the relationship with is your debt. What becomes an issue is when you start to be, what do you call it? When you become an authorized person on the card, that can also impact your credit scores, anything like that, because now you're on that person's account, right? It may be that one card, but should they continue to have issues with that one particular card that you have now joined them with, you may have some issues down the road. And so just keep in mind that if it is separate, those things can remain separate. All right. And you work on dealing with those money issues, right? When you have a plan in place, that helps. But for many, there is no plan. And so they end up remaining in that state of debt way longer and beyond those 5 years from the time they came into that relationship. Okay. Um, let's see here. Looks like we have, okay, I can see. All right. So one of the things that they highlight as well is that when you're dealing with this type of situation, help couples not to blame one another. It's hard enough feeling guilty around how you got yourself into that situation. And you may even refer to it as that's your debt versus, my debt or however it may be. But do your best not to make them feel worse than what they already are, and vice versa. Maybe it's you. Try not to beat yourself up if you're in a bind financially, because the more you stay in that place of negativity, you are going to find yourself that whole romance, those dreams, all those things, you're going to feel like they're not achievable the more you beat yourself up. Those things are achievable. And we're going to talk about how to address that in a little bit, but those things really are something that allows you to focus and improve, your relationship if you have a plan in place. And it could be more than one plan. Let me also highlight that. Okay. Make sure you don't hold that over your head or the other person's head. Please do not. Again, I'm stressing that because that's something that I see a lot. Money issues is, again, it's not the money, it's the lack of communication, conflict resolution. But many, we know that money is the thing that allows them to be able to get what they need, pay their bills, right? Pay those car notes, pay the mortgage, pay for insurance. That is how we survive in society. It has a huge role in what it is that we need to do to function. All right. And so, again, do not blame yourself. Do not feel guilty. Try to remain focused so that you're not stuck in a rose-colored state as if it's not a problem or it's just going to go away by itself. It's not. It really is not. All right, so don't give up. All right, let's talk a little bit about coping with that financial stress. When we think about decision-making models, the first thing it tells you is that you have to identify what the issue is that you're trying to address, right? It's bigger than just saying, we need more money, right? It's bigger than that. It's about really understanding your relationship with money, how you got there, but also what are the stressors? What is contributing to how you got to this place, right? You can't solve a problem without knowing what goes into how that problem became what it is, right? I think I said that right, and I think you understood it. And so once you know what that is, create open communication. Open communication means no matter how difficult it is for you to talk through it, treat it like a critical issue in the relationship that needs your undivided attention. Okay? You have to look at it from the perspective as if we don't have a conversation about it, we can't improve this. We will not get beyond this. So create open communication, which means it allows you to ask difficult questions. It allows you to be vulnerable. It allows you to be able to say, I'm willing to do something different, even if it's uncomfortable. And it's about having the courage to do those things. The third piece says, establish a team approach. It's not you versus them. It's a we thing. How they say there's no I in team. We see that a lot in movies, right? There's no I in team. There isn't, right? But if you're not careful, you'll turn it into a me, as if it's only a you issue, right? Team means 2 or more people. Establish a team approach, meaning that you come up with a plan, you understand you are there to work together, not to hurt one another. And that you're not keeping track of wrong. You are keeping track of the past so that you don't make certain mistakes again, but you're not keeping track of wrong as if you're holding it against a person, causing them to feel guilty. Again, romance, dreams, and wallet is about you still being able to have a good relationship while addressing the major concerns that exist in that relationship. And today we're talking about money issues that create a lot of stress, right? The fourth one is consider seeking professional guidance, right? All of you are here because of the Center for Financial Social Work, right? And so connect them with a certified financial social worker, okay? Or a financial planner, or a therapist, a counselor, someone to help them work through some of their challenges. There are ways that you can definitely do some things independent of these supports. But a lot of times we have to acknowledge that when what we're doing is not enough, that it's time. That it is time to be able to truly, say, hey, how is it that we're going to do something different? Okay. Those are things that are important that we want to keep in mind. Knowing when to receive help. When you know that it's beyond anything you know to do, it's okay to start reaching out for support. Okay. All right. And then last but not least, incorporate self-care and stress relief strategies. What this means is that you're working hard to address these things that are concerns for you. Why not celebrate by resting, right? Turning your brain off. Just like with our cell phones, when that battery starts to get low, I know some of us are guilty. We'll still keep working on that phone until it's in the red, and eventually the phone goes, it just turns itself off. When we're working through how to address financial issues in relationships, couples have to know when to step away and take a break. Okay? Do something fun. Do something that's going to allow you to say, hey, I think we've accomplished a lot today. Let's go take a nap. Let's go for a walk. I'm going for a run, going to the gym, going to the movies. Look for things that are going to allow you not just rest, but it does allow you to be able to process and reflect on the journey that you're on. Okay. So when we talk about coping with stress in general, what do we do any other time? We tell people you need to rest. This is no different when you talk about being intentional around addressing money issues that exist in a relationship, especially when it's creating stress and it's impacting your present and your future relationship. Okay. All right. Now, when I saw this, I love this break in the stress loop, but give me a minute, I'm gonna get there, all right? Because we can't get there without first talking about what stress can do. Okay. It is more than just getting another job. I always tell couples, hey, if you get a new job and you don't have a better relationship with money, you're going to carry over those, those negative or those poor money handling behaviors into this new amount of money. What are you going to do different so that you don't find yourself repeating those things, but learning from the past and doing something that you can truly be proud of, right? Right. So let's look at this stress piece. Stress causes heart disease, everyone. Right? Number one killer. Causes 14,000 deaths a year. It also leads to substance use, whether alcohol, drugs, you name it, risky behavior. Okay. And then it also it says it costs the business industry over $50 billion annually. Okay. This is something that is concerning because we're talking about people not dealing with stress in a way that allows them to kind of move beyond that space. But when you don't deal with it, it impacts you, your livelihood, everything. Okay. Now, there are some couples we know that may go through things simultaneously. They may feel things the same way, but for the most part, couples experience stress differently. One person may be extremely stressed, while another person feels like, oh, they're okay. They're going to be just fine. They don't worry as much. Right? But the other person who is stressing significantly, we find that they may start to have physiological symptoms, headaches, insomnia, digestive issues, pain, right? Neck pain, stress, anything, joints start hurting, right? They're agitated, tingling in different parts of their bodies, right? And so when we talk about physiological symptoms, we also have to keep in mind this is across the board with anything. We know that the body, as Bessel van der Kolk talks about, the body keeps the score. The body holds on to that stress when it's not dealt with, as we were talking about those coping strategies and how you tap into those stress relievers, right? So this brings me now to the breaking the stress loop. Okay. You have this event that happens, money issues, financial stress, right? And then there's that reaction, the lack of intimacy, the discord in the relationship, the lack of trust, the arguing, the increase in separations and divorce, right? But then it says, hey, if you kind of put some coping skills in there, we have the ability to interrupt this thing. We have the ability to say, hey, we know this stuff exists, but it doesn't have to be the thing that destroys your relationship or takes you out altogether. Okay. So one of the things that I would encourage couples to do is implement the breaking the stress loop. Identify what those coping skills can look like for them. It takes courage to make changes. And it takes a lot of focus to be able to address issues that come up in a relationship. Again, when we talk about romance, dreams, and wallets, when we think about romance in the very beginning, we're all excited about love. And no one wants to rock the boat in those relationships, right? Because things seem like they're going well. And then you come to this critical place on your journey as to, okay, what are we doing? Someone has to say something. And you have to be willing to address those issues. You got to begin, as this next bullet says, begin to identify the strengths and the opportunities for change. Always try to find the good. Figure out what is going well in that relationship. Before you start naming all the things that need to be fixed, make sure you balance it out with identifying the strengths. Who brings what to the table, right? And if you find that you're one of those couples that you're like, if you're working with a couple that's trying to keep up with the world standards, or they're trying to keep up with the Joneses, you want to kind of make sure you reel them in to focus on them. Focusing on them and what it is they need to be okay, that's another way of helping them to break that loop. Okay. So that healthy sharing of thoughts and feelings, right? And what they appreciate about it, their relationship and one another, and what they bring to the table to make this change happen is key, right? The other thing is extend grace to yourself. I'm sure they didn't get here overnight, so they're not going to be able to resolve it in one meeting. It's about skill building to have these discussions, these difficult discussions around money. So teach them how to sit through it. Teach them how to take time out when it becomes too heavy, but also teach them how to come back to it and not just leave it where it was when they took the time out. That's one of the biggest mistakes couples can make, is that they do that time out, but then they don't come back because, oh, they seem like everything's okay. We're talking, we're laughing. The conversation and the issue still needs to be addressed. So extend grace to yourself, extend grace to one another, and keep talking. Remain focused on one another in the goals that you have set before you. And every time you see improvement, even if it's something as simple as paying something every month on time, celebrate those small wins. Go for ice cream, right? Go to Rita's, get some Italian nice. Go do something that allows you to just smile in that moment to know that you're doing the work. Okay? This is what the numbers also say. It says 87% of individuals who consider themselves to be in great marriages work together with their spouse to establish long-term working on financial goals, right? Again, we're not just talking about paying down credit card debt. It might be paying off a home a lot sooner than they planned, right? And this is where you can kind of teach couples to have like a Sophia Petrillo moment, like on the Golden Girls. I'm a Golden Girls fan, everyone. And so when she says, picture this, Italy, 19, have couples create their own narrative, right? Have them create their narrative of what they want their lives to look like, what they feel like their lives should look like. It's okay to declare and call out those things that they want to exist. That gives them focus versus being focused on what they feel is holding them back. Two things can exist, meaning you can be addressing one thing while you're introducing another into your world. So allow them to create that for them. So here's a call to action that I want for my fellow certified financial social workers and my certified financial counselors. Assist couples with starting dialogues around their concerns and goals, right? Encourage them to have that discussion, meaning make sure they're facing each other. In my book, 7 Simple Ways to Shape Your Marriage, I talk about 7 things, right? But I'm going to share 3 things that I highlight in the book. One is increase communication with eye contact. It always baffles me when I tell couples to look at each other and say, tell them, they start giggling. And I wonder, how are you giggling? And they go, we're not used to looking at each other. And I go, huh? You have 5 kids and you've been married for 10 years. But they said, it just feels weird looking at each other. So I encourage them and I teach them how to get used to increasing communication with eye contact. So when they're sharing their concerns and their goals with one another, have them face each other. Another point that I make is that I tell them, create comfort in conflict. And what that means is that you don't run when there's a difficult situation such as this, especially something that has the potential to cause a relationship to fall apart. Come together in that moment. and realize, again, as we said earlier, realize you're part of a team and you love one another and you love yourself enough to have a difficult conversation. And then the third piece that I stress is be intentional, because it means something for that couple. It means something for them to deal with this. So be intentional. Another thing you can do is, one of the assessments that exists within the Center for Financial Social Work is the More Money Wise assessment. It's a 30-item rating that allows them to kind of look at where their wisdom is, right? I'm going to say wisdom. That's how I look at it. Their wisdom is as it pertains to their relationships with money. Allow them to do a self-evaluation to see where they are. Encourage them to be as honest as they can. Don't sugarcoat it. Don't answer it based on what they think the other person might want them to put. Tell them to be honest. Start with those small steps. You heard me talk about creating the money story, right? We know we want them to have a budget, all of those things. We want to know where the money is going, but have them really do an assessment to figure out what are the choices that they're making. That's key, right? Now, here's a call to action for couples that may be tuning in today. Make sure you look at ways to not blame one another, okay? You don't want to blame one another because it takes courage, okay? So make sure you understand that no one is perfect, okay? No one is perfect, right? And also understand that what someone may think about you, as it's highlighted in here, says it doesn't matter. Don't worry about that. Remove negative thinking as you're communicating with one another. Stay fully present and make sure you function from a place of gratitude. Attitude is everything in this moment. Okay? Another thing I would encourage couples to do is schedule monthly financial meetings. Some people say, why not weekly? That's a lot for some couples, especially if they have a lot of stuff on their plate. You want to give yourself time to be able to work through whatever it is you have on your list and then come back to be able to discuss it and kind of implement it throughout those weeks. But once a month, sit down and go over the finances or whatever you have listed in that meeting, okay? Choose a book to read quarterly. Find a book that you both can identify that you want to be able to read together that helps build your relationship as a whole while also addressing financial concerns. Okay? See if you can attend a workshop or some retreat that's going to help you improve your financial literacy. If you can find one that focuses on couples, that's even better. Right? And you heard me say this last part again. Celebrate often. Okay? Celebrate often. Okay? All right, let's see here. All right, and then we have the motivational moment again. As you navigate through the rest of your life, be open to collaboration. Other people and other people's ideas are often better than your own. This is Amy Poehler. This is for couples to understand that sometimes we know we can be very strong-willed in our connections with people. Collaboration can be powerful. So we can help couples to understand that they truly are a team and that they sign up to work in partnership in all aspects of their lives. They really can be a powerhouse. And that is what we want to encourage them. So here's a quick little picture of me and my honey bear. The power of unity, financial harmony, right? A couple creating a solid foundation built on hopes, dreams, and wishes, right? That's where you're saying we're having this true discussion. We're on the same page. We're walking in alignment together. Okay. Then you have mindset shift. You're intentional about doing something different. If you don't change the behavior, it's not going to change. So understand that you deserve to be financially well while removing any threats and barriers to that financial wellness that you're seeking. And then motivation. Motivation doesn't always come. Sometimes you have to create it. Sometimes you have to take the first step. Okay? So believe in one another to achieve goals. So believe in one another. Okay? Again, you're a team. And then money connection, establishing a healthy relationship with money, right? Making better choices, seeing money as a tool to be able to achieve goals, right? And treating it fairly, using wisdom in all aspects of your relationship. So here's the why behind all of this.
Sharon, you have about 2 more minutes.
Okay, I'm on my last slide. So
Okay.
financial partnership and harmony is the key to success, to a successful and thriving relationship. Now we know again, money is not everything, but we do understand that money plays a huge role in how we're functioning in society, right? A lot of people rely on it to get the things that they need. And so if you know that it's important to you, you want to make sure that you're in true partnership with your partner around how you're going to maneuver through life with it successfully. Commitment to communication, conflict resolution, shared goals, and partnership is key. If you're not dedicated and you're not intentional about it, those things are going to unravel, which means if you're not talking about basic stuff, you're definitely not going to talk about money issues. So if it's important to you, keep it at the forefront and balance it out with those strengths. Then relationship is enhanced in all areas when financial stresses are addressed. We do believe that. We don't we're not saying that it solves all problems, but it can help reduce a lot of stress that exists. I want to say thank you again to Rita and all of you who participated today. I see that there's some questions. I'm trying to open it up so I can see it. But I want
I'm going to, Sharon, I'm going to take it back so that I can finish my part. And I'm not sure how much time we can have for questions, but let me run through this and see what we can do with questions. So before Q&A, I just like to point out that we have a partner program, we have a financial wellness magazine, we have a directory of financial social workers, and we have the Financial Social Work Collaborative. These are graduates from the center who schedule meetings throughout the month to help our graduates in the development of their financial social work efforts. They do mentoring, help you build your community. They do trainings. And we have just begun our video courses. We will be adding to them shortly. So although they aren't certification courses, they all have great CEUs if you're looking for CEUs. So more on the way on that. We have the next 3 monthly free webinars. You can see them here. We have a great speaker next month on identity theft, as terrible as it is. I will be doing Who Needs Financial Social Work for Financial Literacy Month in April. And in May, we will be launching our Financial Social Work college textbook, Financial Social Work, Micro, Meso, and Macro Practice. That's pretty special for us. A few things to remember about money is no one chooses to have money problems, but most people do. No one can or needs to know everything about money, but everyone needs to know some things about money. Remember that connection between money and mental health, a lot of which underlies everything Sharon was just teaching us. And if we want to reduce or eliminate financial illiteracy, we need to do everything we can to raise more financially literate men and women. And now is the time to invite greater financial health and wellness into your practice, your casework, your client work, your classrooms and workplaces, certainly into your own life. It's time to become an agent of financial change. This is the front and back covers of the textbook that our publisher is Cognella, and they will be launching that in May. Very excited about that. And a lot of people, Sharon talked a lot about the certification. I appreciate that, Sharon. We have thousands of graduates across the country and around the world. It does cost $695, and it includes right now 20 CEUs. But for this webinar, for your attendance, we are offering you a 15% discount, not only on the certification, but on all of the products on our website. The discount code is webinar 202502, and it expires next Monday, January 17th at 11:59. So maybe one or two questions, Eric, do we have, or Sharon, if you saw some?
Yes, I was actually
Absolutely.
trying to type some of the answers.
Eric, you have some?
Oh, Sharon, please go ahead. If feel free to take control over the Q&A portion. Go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we hear you.
Okay, all right. I was typing in the chat because I was trying to make sure, but there are a couple of books that I am recommending by Doctors Parrott and Dr. Olson, called Helping Couples. Making sure I'm sending it now. And then also my book, 7 Simple Ways to Shape Your Marriage. That's me. I'm trying to see the rest of the questions. There we go. One question was well, it was a statement. The wedding makes them start in debt. My response to that was, in some cases, many couples do start in debt from the wedding, but a lot of them end up having debt as it pertains to student loan debt or credit card debt before they even met that individual, and they end up carrying that with them. And unfortunately, in some cases, some couples don't even know how much debt the other person may have because they haven't fully disclosed it. So those are things that we do have to keep in mind, having those honest, helping them have those honest conversations around what exists for them. Rita, is it possible for them to get a link to the assessment, the MoneyWise, or is because that's part of the curriculum? I don't know if that's something that we can do,
Probably
right?
not. Yeah,
Okay.
probably not.
And so that was it. Oh, it says maybe you all display Sharon's contact information. I can actually, if you want, do you want me to just type it in the chat, everyone?
Go ahead.
And, okay. And I'll do this.
I really meant to put it up. I
Is
apologize, Sharon. I
Sharon
meant to.
J. Lawrence, SharonJLawrence.com, and then you can find all of my stuff there.
I should have put that on this slide. I apologize, Sharon.
It's okay.
If you want her information also, you can just shoot me an email, Rita, R-E-E, well, it's right up there, R-E-E-T-A @financialsocialwork.com, and I will happily pass that on to Sharon. And
I was going to tell them, make sure they put Sharon J. Lawrence, because if you put Sharon Lawrence, it's going to come up with the actress's name.
Oh, okay.
Sharon J. All right. I think that was
I
it.
hope that there are a lot of thank yous in that chat box or in that question box, because you were wonderful.
Oh.
There, I see a great webinar, a great webinar. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you, Rita. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I really appreciate you all in this opportunity again. I love coming to join you. Thank you.
Thanks, Sharon. I hope we'll see you back again. And
Absolutely.
thanks. Great. Thanks, everybody. Have a good rest of the day. Stay healthy and join us next month on our monthly free webinar. Bye now.